like to first of all welcome you here to Middle Temple. Middle Temple is one of the 4 Inns of Court here in London. Every barrister in the country has to be called to one. I'm very lucky to say that this is my inn here, so welcome. I hope you feel at home, and if you wish you can come to lunch with us afterwards. We've got a very short panel of people here that have interacted with Jackie in the last kind of 5 years. Sorry, Jackie's my mother, just in case anyone hasn't picked that up. So I'm overwhelmingly biased, but I'm going to do my best to sit on the fence here.
Dyslexia Behind Bars, this is the report that is out now. Now, where we started was, I'm saying there are no accidents. A car accident that changed my life and my 2 sons' lives. Quite horrendous, and my son had head injury. And it was working with him, I went into teaching back into the 1920s, Samuel Alton. I had to help him to sort of move forward. And I started to sort of, as I was working with him, I could see that it was actually teaching myself. I was actually using multisensory teaching, and I got him into college, and he achieved a GMVQ in the first year. The second year, the teacher had no idea how to work with him. So in 5 weeks, I was actually going to send him to Runwell, which is a mental health institute where we live. So I then took on the role of kept teaching him. I wanted him to have a better life. But what my fear was, he became quite aggressive sometimes. And this is where the police would bring him home at night and was telling me that they were going to put him in prison, and that's really feared me, and that's really why I started to look at what was happening in prisons. You know, did the staff actually understand hidden disabilities? How would they have treated my son? So that's really where the prison started, where I was looking at the prison. And of course myself, while I was working with Stuart, I decided to go to college. I'd gone to one adult college, and they just didn't know what was wrong with me. Orally I was fine. When it came to writing or exams, I failed, and I was struggling to get through exams. Saw what was happening in the women's prison. Then through mentoring, I started phoning Ken up and saying, please, I want to do more work, I want to go into a prison. And did Ken and Vince help me put the money together? And this is where the Red Book starts. So for 6 months we were funded, and this is where the pilot scheme started. So the scheme cost only was $12,000. It was, we interviewed 826 prisoners, 434 of them had dyslexia characters. We interviewed 10 men on the induction week, and 6 did not want to go back into education, so we were looking at why. 20 prisoners were trained, and that was the first part of the video you saw with Ken, the first of 20 that went through, and 96 mentors were helped. And this is where I met Colin on the wing, and then Colin really got involved to help me. Now, there is a little video, but I think we'll leave that today, and what we'll do, we'll go on to Terry. In the video, you're talking all about Terry, and Terry was actually a self-harmer, and Dawn will tell you, he used to more or less stop the whole prison. When he used to sort of cut himself, everybody had to stop. I met him on a wing, and in 1 hour I found out exactly what his issues were, what was the problems, how to help him. And he never, I don't think, did he cut himself after that? No. He was so much better. But we found, say, been in prison over 40 times. And over the last 4 years, he hasn't been back inside. So we are so proud of Terry, and I still phone him, still have a chat with him, see how he's going. So I'm really proud about that. Now, the first book was the red one, which was the 6 months. And what we wanted to show you in that book was the sort of test assessment material we used. And Annika helped me. I met Annika back in 2005, and we were working on a lexion software. So that was one of the first softwares I put into this project. Then we were using the mentoring, which was from Ken. So I was putting loads of ideas in together, and I do believe that's how we got such a great result, because we put so much together. So in that story, we talked about Frank. And Frankie, it was Frankie in the story there, so he learned his alphabet in 2 days. I spoke to him on Friday, I had 1 hour with him. So Frankie was 67, he was dyslexic, and he was a boxer, so I was looking at the head injury side as well. and he couldn't remember his alphabet, he hadn't written any letters home, and he'd been in prison a long, long time. And so on this Friday I had 1 hour, and I had to show him why he hadn't learned all these years, but these are the ways he could learn. And he went back to his cell, so I had 1 hour, that's all I had. And he went back to his cell, and all these sort of ideas, tools that I'd given him, he had to play. And I went back on the Wednesday, and the deputy governor was putting me in, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I've done something wrong, I'm in trouble. But it turned out he'd learned his alphabet in them 3 days. He started writing letters home to his wife. It was just amazing. He then we started teaching him the computer. And he actually wrote and typed his first letter. So you'll see that actually in the new report. And again, he hasn't been back inside. The last time I spoke to him, he's done all these different types of jobs. Now he's out in open prison. And he's also doing a forklift truck job. So he's got so much choice now. So a lot happier. So in January 2007, we had the launch of Mentoring for You. We had, as I say, first lot of funding. I'd worked in it for 3 months, voluntary work. I just could not let this go. And then we came up with the idea of Mentoring for You. All the prisoners sat round, we discussed how we was going to put together, what we was going to do. So this was launched in January 2007. And the aim of the project was to one-to-one tutoring support and improve your individual learning needs. So that took off. Lord Addinton came into the prison, so that's how Lord Addinton come to see us. Now, what we looked at was the first night in prison. What we could see is that some of the officers would be frustrated. Why were these prisoners smashing a cell up? What was happening? And in the new report, you'll hear the story how I spoke to an officer. And when he told me about smashing up the cell, why are they doing it? And he's got to go down the block now. I'm going, hold on. Did you give him a letter? Did you give him anything when he went into the cell? And he went, well, yeah, I gave him a letter. So I said, well, okay, do you know if he could read? And he said, I hadn't thought about it. So I said, well, it could be a Dear John letter, it could be a sister's letter, it could be a mum's letter. But this man can't read. Who's he going to ask? Is he going to ask somebody in that cell? Are they going to take the mick out of him? What's going to happen? And all of a sudden, this officer understood what I was trying to say. And so this is where Colin and Wayne got involved with all the mentoring side, so that as soon as people came on the wings, you had somebody there straight away. The officer knew they could come and talk to somebody. So this is why we wanted to be in the induction room straight away, and that was where we were with Miss Amy, Dawn. She let us, I more or less run the meeting. Sorry. But you'll hear the story later anyway. So then we realised that some men needed more help, so we set up learning workshops. We had mentoring courses, and we done, as I say, introduction on the wings. Right. So in that about a year from Mentoring for You started, we interviewed 1,200 people. And 575 of them had no qualifications. 674 were excluded from school. 742 had not passed their driving theory tests. So their crimes were they kept going out driving, coming back, coming out. This is what we wanted to look at. Now 590, they said that they were self-employed. But when you started digging deeper, it was all cash in hand. Because they couldn't fill the forms out, they was embarrassed to go and tell anyone. And then 10 prisoners had been inside over 40 times. Why? That's what I couldn't get my head around. How nobody had actually stopped and thought something's got to change. One of the officers, Bob Brand, he had been in the service for 33 years. And he said to me, when you came in, you were running around in your fluffy boots and kept talking. He said, I think it's not going to work, another project, and come and go. And he said, he's been there 33 years putting men behind doors. And he said at the beginning, I thought I was doing right. I thought this was the right way. Then you came in with all your ideas and made such a change. He said, I went home one night and I sat there and I realised I was wrong. I was actually wrong after 33 years. The same thing, he died, didn't he, a few years ago. But he really wanted me to get my project into every prison. And that was so sad that I never got to see my wish. But we're going to try something, we're going to do something. Right, okay. So, workshops. covering was what am I good at, learning styles, lexion, where am I now, equality and skills. We were looking at the driving theory, construction, CSCS card, and then of course I would have an interview with myself, and we would see what mentors would work with them, what information they needed, how could we help them. On the mentoring courses, we had the role of the mentoring, we would look at social skills, multi-intelligence, NLP, hidden disabilities, multi-sensory, computer lexion, and driving theory tests. The men had to understand all this so they could help other prisoners. As I say, then, because of the different types of funding I was going through, I mean, I started off with Mentor, 3 months in no funding. Then I got funding through Information Providers Guidance, where I met a lovely lady called Anne, so you will see her, she's in the book as well. And so then that funding ran out, so I had to look for work with St Giles's Trust. Now St Giles's Trust was very interested in the mentoring side, and also they had funding for me to teach 703. So this is where we started sort of looking at the 703 mentoring course. Where's my last one? Oh, Sitting Girls, that's it, sorry. So we started delivering the 703. We started with 10 men. Now, 5 of them had hidden disabilities and 5 not. The idea was I wanted to put the 2 together. I wanted the people without hidden disabilities to understand what it was like to be teaching and working with people with hidden disabilities. And one prisoner used to work on Picto, and he used to hit some of the prisoners on the head, because he used to get so frustrated that they wasn't learning. His idea was that he was helping, he was a teacher, they should obey him. And when he came on our course, he realised that his handouts were wrong, he was talking to the prisoners wrong, and in fact, it was his fault that the kids and the prisoners wasn't picking it up, not their fault. And so with redesigning the handouts, he was doing health and safety. It was amazing what this man had learned. And when he started telling people in the prison that he was hit, you know, he had hit these prisoners on the head because he was so frustrated with them. And now he's now helping other ex-offenders. He's doing such great work on the outside now. So, as I say, so very proud of so many of these men. As I say, the Sitting Guilds, we had the 5 units we were covering, and as I say, 10 started, 10 finished, 10 passed, and what really was the assessors at the end could not tell who was dyslexic and who wasn't. So that to me, I was so proud of their work. Mentor helped. We had 40 prisoners that were trained as mentors, 50 prisoners went through their workshops, 10 prisoners took part in the 703 and 10 passed and finished, 70 prisoners were helped on the wing, 60 prisoners were helped over in Wayland, and Colin and Wayne again mentored 6 prisoners as to be mentors. Right, so I think some of you know I became very, very ill, and I had to leave the prison in June 2008. So what happened, I was writing to about 20 prisoners, 3 of them are lifers, so they're still in prison, and 17 I started to sort of like, we were texting, phoning, eye-chatting, and while I was in my bed I was just, you know, just working with these prisoners, see what was happening in their lives. And so what we found is that we've got 6 working, 4 unemployed, 2 doing voluntary work, 2 owning their own business and 1's at university, and only 1 has gone back inside. So again, so really proud. So impact of reoffending rate, 17 prisoners from the first 2 groups, 16 of them have not been offending the last 4 years. England and Wales, the offending rate is 55 within 2 years. Project reoffending rate was 5.9 within 4 years. I know it was only a small sample, but you must always remember, I was actually in my bed so many of them times. But look what we've done. You know, all the prisoners and everybody that we've worked with, they've worked so hard with me, so I'm so proud. So this book is Dyslexia Behind Bars, and so we interviewed overall 2.5 years. We interviewed over 2,000 prisoners. 53% of them were diagnosed with dyslexia, and 21% of them had suffered trauma and injury.